Friends, thanks again for joining me. In the last few clips, we had examined the comparisons between the two civilizations, the Indic and the modern. If Isaac Asimov, the science fiction novelist, today was doing a novel on it, and if he looked at the two civilizations and he described two Earth-like planets, then he would find the people from the Indic civilization far, far superior in terms of their sociological maturity and the way they conduct, whilst the other one seems to self-annihilate every 600-700 years. So it would be a very interesting read. However, now that we've done some of this interesting analysis and comparison, we are now bound to look more deeper into it and say, all right, if we claim that the civilization is that old, let's try and understand where that comes from and how can we establish that it is that old. And for today, we're going to look at one of the most unlikeliest candidate who's going to tell us how old we are. And yes, that's your house mice. How does a house mice tell us this story? Well, what we do understand about a civilization is that a civilization is where a people have organized themselves into some structure and have been able to live together with certain rules and certain distribution of wealth, and then those cultural practices that they then imbibe carries on uh, undisturbed for a certain length of time, and that is then one civilization. It's not just that you build a skyscraper, it becomes a civilization. That's not the issue here. The civilization is how people really get together and manage themselves. So, obviously, in this, if we look at it, when there's hunter gatherers, then they had to come around to farming. And once they come around to farming and some kind of cattle herding, so it comes to animal husbandry. So, this whole farming, animal husbandry, this activity then settles them so that they start leading sedentary lifestyles compared to nomadic lifestyles. And when they settle down, then they got to organize themselves as societies, and then they have to carry on in that fashion for a period of while till they become more prosperous and there's more thought and more progress. So if we look at when would this have started, that means we would have had to identify when would early farming would have started, and if it is continuing from that date till now, where is that particular location? So if we have to look at that, then the house mice comes to our rescue here. Why? Because when a group of people settle down and then they do sustainable farming over a long period of time, then there is food grains, and because there's food grains, the wild forest rat starts becoming a much more easy going fellow, and we have this breed of house mice developed. What do the house mice do? Scientifically, they cannot exist without human beings because they are dependent upon human beings. They're dependent upon the food grains. They're dependent upon being in a house where they can easily sneak in and get some food grains to eat. And then, because they're so numerous, they then travel with the people wherever they go, sometimes in their baggage, sometimes in their food grain parcels and wherever, and then they go out and spread. So the surprising thing is that when you do the genetics on house mice the world over, they are found to have originated in India. Yes, in India, northwestern part of India. And how long ago? 13,000 BC to 14,000 BC before Christ. So that would mean at least 15 to 16,000 years from now. And then if you understand that it has spread all over the world, the mice, the house mice, they owe their ancestry to this particular house mice from India, somewhere from 13 to 14,000 BC. In certain parts, even though the house mice got introduced much earlier, They have not, their ancestry cannot be traced for something beyond a few thousand years. Why? Because the level of farming, needs to be a kind of a sustained farming and sustained area, etc. So it means that itself requires a lot of time. So certain parts of Europe, even though the house mice traveled there, they could not continue to sustain themselves simply because sustainable farming did not take place there. So there's got to be a certain size of farming, a certain level of activity, a certain continuity of activity, and that itself takes another 1,000 to 2,000 years. So we're looking at definitely 15 to 17,000 years when we must have had some very settled farming lifestyles to be able to generate the house mice. And why is it that the house mouse doesn't seem to owe its ancestry to any other place in the world, which is supposed to have been the cradles of civilization? And yet it's only in the Indic subcontinent that you find region that you find the house mice is originated from. So that is one more indication for you to understand that there has been at the start of the civilization somewhere at that time, and then we've been coming on till now. So this is one aspect to show our antiquity. We will also dwell on some more in the next few clips to check and confirm how old has the civilization been. Thank you very much for watching. Till we meet again. Cheers. Bye bye.